everybody. I thought I would jump on here real quick because I'm fixing to make my dough for my bread. I'm going to mill the flour. I'm going to do all that. So I am a beginner, meaning I started in October. So I've only been doing that, 3 months? And sometimes I want to see someone who's just starting out for the first time because milling your flour sounds so intimidating, but it's not. Please go and find Sue Beckers' channel. It's Bread Beckers. She's going to go over all the benefits that comes with milling your own flour, okay? Because any flour and any bread that's on the shelves are not good for you, even if they say they are. I mean, there's probably better options, but just go listen to her and I'll let her tell you all that. I took off early. I was fixing to take my lunch break and I was outside and I thought, I just do not want to go back to work. So I took a couple hours PTO. So just made my lunch. It is stuffed bell peppers and mashed potatoes. So I have that over here to the side and I am ready to eat. Okay, so let me just tell you something real quick. One of the things that you're going to see that I have a cheap mill. They have some really expensive ones that are awesome, but I mean, look, especially if you're just starting out, you want to make sure you want to stick with it. But I mean, sometimes we can't afford to buy all those $300 mills. Maybe that'll be something in the future, but I want to kind of show you how I deal with my cheaper one. The one I got is about $80 off Amazon, and I'm going to link that. I don't have any issues with it. The only thing I would say, it is stainless steel, and it does heat up, but just don't run it a long time. And I'll kind of show you what I do. I kind of take breaks, intermediate breaks, I guess. But trying to think what else. Oh, and they're very loud. I keep some cotton just kind of nearby, and I just tear tiny pieces, put them in my ear, and that really helps with the sound. So if you live in an apartment like I do, you don't want to be doing this at night, you know. Trying to think, is there anything else? I don't think so. I don't think there's anything major that I'm going to tell you. I'm just going to start doing this, and then I will kind of probably do a voiceover to go over anything, all the steps that I'm doing there. So yeah, so just stick around. I'm going to, this is 1.5 cups. I'm going to heat this in the microwave. And I do put that on for 2 minutes, just so it'll get hot. And while that's heating up, I'm going to go ahead and get my wheat berries into this mill grinder. One thing, you want to be very careful. I never plug this in until I have this closed with everything I need. So I don't want to take a chance because there's a blade in here and it tells you that. So, and I'm not actually telling you how necessarily. I'm just showing you how I don't know. So, like, you can't take the blade out or anything like that. Well, you can if you unscrew them, like if you want to change your blade. But generally, these don't come out. So, let me get... And every cup makes an extra half cup. So, I use about 4.5 cups in this recipe. So, that means I need 3 cups. Okay? So, because 3 cups. So, every... cup makes a half cup, so that means that's 3 extra half cups, which is a cup and a half extra. To say that in a very elementary way, because sometimes I need elementary ways, explanations, I should say. So 3 cups into the mill. Make sure that that's turned on. And depending on the mill you get, do whatever. But I just need to lock that in place and then put the 2 extra, I guess. Now, this is going to be loud, but let me, before I start this, tell you that while that's doing that, I'm going to be like getting my water, putting it in here, and doing the stuff that I can. I'm probably being confusing, but you'll see that here in a bit, okay? And I put it on to start out 2 minutes. I'm going to do 2 2-minute increments, okay? Okay, that has stopped, but I'm going to let it set just a little bit while I'll do a couple of more steps. This is the oil that I use, and this really makes the taste of the bread. I mean, I'm sure it would taste good with just any oil, but this is real olive oil, and it has a very distinct taste and smell. And this really, I just suggest, if you can, to get this oil. Okay. And I just use this plate because just to kind of keep this from getting too dirty. And I don't know if you can see this. I have a hook that I just hooked up over here that I can hang my bananas. For a small apartment, that's really, I guess a good tip. So you don't have a big old banana holder. So, oh, I need to get this for my egg in a minute. Now, it does call for a 1/3 cup of oil and a 1/3 cup of sweetener, which this recipe actually calls for honey. And I do use honey sometimes, but I also use organic maple syrup. I'm generally using the maple syrup here lately just because, I don't know, it saves on my honey. I use honey for coffee. So I just go ahead and use the maple syrup. Now, I'm going to tell you one thing that I did learn. Let me find my other cup by accident. I thought I had my 1/3 cup one day, and I had my fourth cup. So I put a 1/4 cup of oil and a 1/4 cup of maple syrup. It ended up doing fine, but what I've been doing now, I really want to have the oil to make it as moist as possible. So I've been doing a 1/3 cup of oil and a 1/4 cup of maple syrup sweetener. So yeah, and maple syrup is more runny, so I think it kind of evens out and it tastes perfectly fine. So I'm going to do a 1/3 cup of oil and a 1/4 cup of maple syrup. I got a little, I don't know, silicone spatula. That way I can scrape all of that oil. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and turn this on for the second round. Okay, and I'm doing, well, it's not that I'm doing this. It calls for 2 teaspoons of salt. I use real salt. I pour it in this container. But I get actual brand that says real salt, so. And I'm going to have the stuff that I use linked in the description box, the stuff that I get on Amazon anyways. And the wheat berries, I have a big deal that I keep in my office, and I just fill it up in this. I got this from the Dollar Tree, and this is hard white wheat berries. And I do use the Becker bread. It's called Bread Beckers. That's what it is. I just go find their website. You can get their wheat berries or just wherever you want to get them. So there's that. Now I use one of these so I can pour the flour in from this. And once again, when I know I'm going to open this, I make sure to unplug it. And it's pretty hot. I use one of these basting silicone, I guess, baster things to try to decide if I want to put you closer. Nah. So all the flour that I need, and let me show you. I mean, it literally is just flour. All you're doing is cutting up the berries, really, grinding them down. So I want to make sure I go and order those since I'm putting in the bread machine. Okay, after the salt, I'm going to put 1 egg, and that's optional on this recipe, but I do like to do it. I feel like it adds moisture, I guess. I don't know. And of course, I like to put it in one of these things first because I do not want to end up putting a rotten egg into all of that good flour and waste it. So, oh, I guess the flour's not in there yet, but I don't want to waste like the maple syrup because that's, pricey. Can be. Okay. I usually have this memorized, but there's a couple more ingredients on here, but they're optional and I don't do them. Like rice bran and vital wheat gluten. I don't do that. So flour and then yeast. Okay, there's the flour and then a tablespoon of yeast. Now, my particular bread machine has a setting to just do the dough, which is what I put it on. Mine is on option 10. And I'm going to link this bread machine down below as well. Okay, now, so I'm going to go ahead and plug this in. And let me find. Okay, and so that's going to be mixing that. Goodness, it mixes for a while. But I just kind of listen for it because if I don't listen for it, when it gets done, it's going to rise. And because of this, I don't know, the amount of yeast, I think it overflows. And I just don't like to do that. So as soon as it gets done, I'm going to put it into a bowl and I'm going to let it rise. Now, the first rise, you can let rise as long as you want. It needs to at least rise for an hour. But so that's when, if you need to go do some errands or stuff, you don't have to worry about it. The second rise is when you have to make sure it doesn't overrise. We'll talk about that later. But so I'm going to go ahead and kind of put the cold stuff up because, like I said, this takes a bit. Once this gets done and I put it into its own bowl, so this is one batch. This one batch is going to make 2 loaves. Okay, but when this gets done, I'm going to do another batch. That way I can freeze 4 loaves. So that's my goal, to freeze 4 loaves. And I'm going to put the recipe too that I'm using. And it does come from Sue Becker's recipe book. I have not ventured out to make anything else. Cakes and stuff takes soft wheat. So I am going to be doing that though. I do plan to do that. So I'm going to put the recipe also in the description box. Trying to think if I missed anything. I don't think so. So we're just going to let this thing do its business or whatever. So both of these have risen at least an hour. I mean, it's been several hours, but I don't know. You can see that. So what I like to do now, you know, when you're making sourdough, you use flour, you know, to keep it from getting sticky and all that stuff. You don't do that with this, and I learned that from Sue Becker, because you don't want to put more flour in here than is needed, because it changes the texture of this particular bread. So all I'm going to be doing is, and I use water. Did I say that? I'll generally keep it running. Do like this every once in a while. It keeps it from sticking. A stain, and also if you need to handle it, just put a little bit of water on your hands. I don't know, can you see that? It just comes right off if you put water on there. And then I don't want to have my hands like in dough. I mean, so I just kind of do this. I knead it with this little silicone spatula. So I kind of got it where it looks, you know, even. So let me get this. So I did the same thing. I kind of wet it, and I'm just going to half it right down the middle. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of cut it like that. One may be a little bigger. I mean, you can weigh it and all that, but I don't do that. I was trying to do all that when I first started, and I don't want to make it, I don't want to do something to where I don't want to make it to where I don't want to do it, if that makes sense. So in order for me to keep doing this, I mean, I would still keep doing it because of benefits, health benefits, but you know what I'm saying. So I did wet my hands a little bit, so I can now grab it. I'm going to wet both and kind of stretch it out a little bit. Now, some of you pros are looking at and going, that's not how you do it. But I'm just trying to tuck it a little bit, and then I'm just going to lay it on whatever. Let me get this off my hands and I'll show you. So this is what this one, I always put one in this little thing with some parchment paper. And I'm going to stick this in the freezer just like this. And then once it freezes, I'll put it in a Ziploc, okay? But one of my breads, I make in a round type cake pan, so it's a round loaf. And so that will be this better way. I have one of these baskets from Dollar Tree. I'm going to put 2 in here because, and I will put it, I'll show you that, put it wrapped in parchment paper, because when it freezes, it'll fit in my loaf pan real easy. So, and I'll show you that. So I can now kind of just do that. I'm just going to put it, I know you can't see me right now, but this is all I'm doing, just putting it in this, and I'll show you it in a minute when I actually, the only issue that I've had with this is, let me move this one out of the way, is sometimes the parchment paper will freeze in between little cracks, and I'm okay with that, honestly. So here's my next one. And for you pros, you probably, I mean, you can probably do something way better than me, but this is really for those who haven't really done this and they're kind of scared to tackle it. And it becomes easy once you do it. It's really not a big deal. I am not a bread maker or baker at all, really. So as you can see, I'm just kind of kneading it here as well. I'll probably do a better video. This is just kind of like, I mean, not a professional bread making video. I may do a closer one next time of me actually doing the other part, you know, actually put it in the machine and all that. But I was going to say something specific. Of course, I don't remember what that was. You know, I really need to put it in the other pan so I can cut it better. Since this has a flat bottom. Okay, I have quote unquote kneaded it. And now I'm going to just divide this in half again. Okay, there is that. I'm going to grab, let me get my another parchment paper. I went ahead and tore 4 out since I'm making 4. I'm just going to kind of do this. I need to put some more water, but it's okay. That. Let me. Yeah, I forgot to put water on this other hand. So, look at this. It is just kind of looks like just a blob of dough. That's how forgiving this is. And once again, I'm not trying to make it look like an awesome piece of bread, or not piece of bread, but bread loaf. I'm just wanting to eat the bread. So that's my goal, is to be sure that I'm eating this bread because of all the health benefits, and I don't care what it looks like. So I'm going to stick this in the freezer just like this real quick. So when I say you do not have to do anything spectacular, I know that some people get this and they pull it and they just tuck it, do all this stuff. I mean, look, I try. That one's more, that's not as, the texture's a little different. I feel like I didn't let it complete the, quote unquote, stirring or mixing part when it was in the bread machine. I think I thought it stopped and it hadn't, but I have 4 loaves of bread ready to be made whenever I need to. I will tell you, and I may include this on an actual video when I actually do this, but she says to give it 12 hours. I have found that that's too long for me. I don't know why that is. I think she divides hers too, but for some reason that's too long. And the first rise, you want it to double and then not rise forever. Only the first rise, you can let it rise as long as you want. Second one, don't do that. You want to just watch it and see what the double, once it doubles. I found that it takes about 8 hours for mine, maybe a little longer. But I found that at 8 hours or maybe 9 hours, mine is ready. It's already doubled in size and it's ready to bake. So if I know I'm on my last piece of bread, I need some bread for tomorrow, I will put it out when I get up. I get up at 5, between 5:15, something like that. Because I start my job at 6 o'clock, and at 6 I do like a Bible study, pray a little bit before I start. But I come in here about 6 and or sometimes 5:30, and lay out my bread. I just put it out on your stove or whatever, cover it with a towel, a kitchen towel, kind of like I have those ones, and I let it rise and then about 2:30 or 3, it's ready to be put in the oven, and you bake it at 350 for 30 minutes. So at least that's the way my oven has it. So anyways, I think that's it. I actually just made some cinnamon toast. I know I make that all the time, but I'm not trying to be cooking